When I started facilitating workshops, I quickly realized, oh my God, I'm basically using the exact same skills like active listening, manage different group dynamics, deal with challenging participants. Adults actually want to be in the room. I used to be a primary school teacher for almost a decade in Ireland and moved my whole entire career. Very scary, but also best decision I've ever made. People are worried about AI taking their job, but with facilitation that you can relax because for facilitation, it's always going to be human-led and AI enhanced. AI is there to support you, but it's definitely not going to replace you.
What would be the advice that you would give to facilitators if they also want to be more authentic and discover their own facilitation style?
My biggest word of advice is...
Welcome to another day, another workshop. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Rebecca Courtney. She's a facilitation coach at En-Smart, the facilitation company. If you're into facilitation, you've probably seen her on YouTube or LinkedIn, where she shares tips and recommendations to level up your workshop game. Rebecca has worked with some of the biggest brands out there and has also helped thousands of facilitators improve their craft. Without further ado, let's welcome Rebecca.
Hello. Hi, Mehdi. Thank you so much for having me on and also for that insane introduction. I feel very, I don't know. I feel great
I'm just
after
stating
that.
the facts.
I know, but I've never heard it all summarized and distilled down like that. But that's me. Maybe I can just like say a tiny bit more about what I do at AJ and Smart and just give a tiny bit more context. But
Sure.
yeah, so I've been working at AJ and Smart for the last 4 and a bit years. I haven't figured out exactly the time frame yet. But before that, I used to be a primary school teacher and I worked for almost a decade in Ireland as a teacher and moved my whole entire career, did a big, huge career change, which was very scary, but also best decision I've ever made. And since then, I've been working at AJ and Smart as a facilitation coach, as you said, training lots and lots of people on how to become a facilitator, how to make it as their career, whether that's in-house facilitation or freelance facilitation. And yeah, I do lots of other things at AJ and Smart. You kind of have to be like a jack of all trades, like doing content, like on YouTube, doing different webinars, doing lots of marketing. So yeah, doing lots of different things. But I'm super happy here to be here today talking about what I love the most, which is facilitation.
That's awesome. Rebecca, what I love about your background is that you were a teacher and now you're teaching grown-ups because you were teaching like small kids and now you're teaching grown-ups how to do magic thanks to facilitation. What are the things you learn from working with kids and that you're applying today with us?
Oh my God, everything. It was funny actually. When I started this transition between teacher and facilitator, at the beginning, I didn't know that there were going to be so many similarities. I actually was really scared that I was just like leaving my teaching career behind and then going into something completely different. But when I started facilitating workshops, I quickly realized, oh my God, I'm basically using the exact same skills. So that was amazing for me. So I was still using everything I learned with kids, like active listening, being able to manage different group dynamics, being able to deal with challenging participants. I was using all the exact same skills that I did in school with adults. But the great thing is that adults actually want to be in the room most of the time. So there wasn't that much friction for me as a facilitator. When I stepped into the room, I was like, oh, I can feel that everybody wants to be here and they don't want to just go out playing in the schoolyard or whatever. So yeah, also what was a huge difference from teaching to facilitation for me, which was a massive relief, and for anybody out there who's thinking of doing this career shift, as a teacher, you kind of have to be a subject knowledge expert, and you're the person imparting wisdom into the children.
Oh,
You do that in lots of different ways, and active learning and making sure they're learning by doing is one part of it. But as a facilitator, you can totally take that pressure away from yourself. You don't need to be a subject knowledge, a subject matter expert, because you are this neutral guide that helps people actually come up with their own solutions through different processes and things. But yeah, that was key for me. I was like, oh, I can step into any room, like I can go into a pharmaceutical company, I can go into a company, and I can help them with their challenges, and I don't need to know deeply about their challenges. So yeah, that was cool. Lots of
Um,
differences and lots of more similarities than differences between teaching and facilitation.
okay. I would not ask you like what are, what are the difference between difficult participants when they are kids and when they are grown-ups. Um,
It's the exact same. In
okay.
facilitation, though, you definitely get a bit more skeptics of your process. And with teaching, yeah, it's a bit easier to get the kids on board with you. So, yeah, there's more work to do, I think, as a facilitator with things like that, with different group dynamics.
Awesome. So Rebecca, you're working at AGN Smart, which is this leading facilitation agency. We've
Mhm.
been, I think, maybe the company that trained the most people in the world on this topic. So I guess you're the in the perfect position to tell us like where the market is going. In your
Absolutely.
opinion, what are the big trends coming for the facilitation world?
Yeah, so at AJ and Smart, yeah, we're training so many different people and everything is changing really quickly and within facilitation itself, you do as a facilitator need to keep up to date with these changes. And so like there's a few ideas I have on this or thoughts on this, and maybe I should try structure it to make a bit more sense. But one thing I wanted to talk about is there's a survey out there for facilitators. It's called the State of Facilitation Survey. It's run by Session Lab. I'd say you know it, Medi. It's every year you fill out the survey as a facilitator, and there's thousands of facilitators part of this at this point, and there's just lots of different questions around the topic of facilitation asked in that survey. And the data that's collected from it is so interesting every year to see how just things are constantly changing. And a few things stood out in the survey this year or like last year's survey about facilitation in general, where it's going. And one of these changes is the whole topic of AI. People are worried about AI taking their jobs and taking over, and I feel like there's a very negative narrative around it sometimes. But with facilitation, I'm here to tell you that you can relax because AI is there as a supportive tool for you as a facilitator, but facilitation, it's always going to be human led and AI enhanced, if I can put it into words. AI is there to support you as a facilitator, but it's definitely not going to replace you as a facilitator. And I really love this because I'm working in this industry and I know that the tools can be a huge support. So like if I'm planning something and if I really just want to put it into a little structure and an agenda, I can use AI there. Or if I'm like ideating on some ideas, I can use it there. But it's never going to replace you showing up into a space, whether online or in person, being able to guide people through a process and being able to impact how they feel as they go through that process. So yeah, it's that was one thing that I really was happy about hearing that it's like this universal thing in the space that people should not be afraid of AI replacing their jobs as a facilitator. We're irreplaceable.
Yeah, I think
Um,
their AI needs to come a long way to do what we do. Of course, it can
Absolutely.
facilitate the process, like preparation,
Hmm.
the delivery if you want to like summarize things and share like the main takeaways. Do you use it in
Hmm.
an like during the session, for example,
Um,
or
so the only time I would use it during the session, and again, this is like another point that I feel very strongly about. I feel like it's never going to replace, and it shouldn't replace that creative process. Like the ideation phase of a workshop should be all done by humans, humans getting together and collaborating and sharing different perspectives. That's where the best ideas come from. And I have tried to simulate that. I've tried to use AI in that part of a workshop before, of just like getting it to brainstorm some ideas, and it feels horrible. The whole group feels horrible because they don't feel like they've created the ideas.
yeah.
And people have to be a part of that to feel like they can, back the ideas and get behind them and feel excited about them. If there's a tool doing it for them, it just makes people lazy. And yeah, it doesn't feel nice. So have I ever used it in a workshop before? Yes, I've tried it in the ideation phase and realized pretty quick it doesn't feel good. And the second place that I've used it, which actually really helps me as a facilitator, sometimes if I'm facilitating a workshop and I have to do like, especially the how might we exercise, you know it. Um, if I feel like I can't reword what something in a challenge into a how might we, and for people listening, how might we exercise or frame is just taking a challenge, which is very vague, and turning it into an opportunity statement, so people can come up with solutions for it. And so sometimes when I'm like facilitating and I'm in a rush and I just want the how might we to be just given to me, um, I'll tell people to go away for a 5 minute break or something, and I'll come up with, let's say, a few how might we's using ChatGPT, and then I can present that back to people. And that does save time for me because you're able to just like focus on other things then afterwards. So yeah, I use it, but in small amounts in my facilitation.
It makes you save time and energy because like your
Yeah.
brain need to work like, oh, is it the perfect perspective? Am I not creating a bias here? So
Yeah, a hundred
I
percent.
get it.
Yeah. And also, like, as you said, for even after a workshop, summarizing or like creating a report for clients and things, um, it can really help speed up that process of just like downloading everything that happened in the workshop and presenting it in a nicer way for people. And a lot of the times people can spend so long on that after post workshop part. And so help using ChatGPT or Claude or one of these tools to help speed up that process. I think there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes you have some ideas that have been prioritized and you want to put them together. And it's quite like hard to do it as a human. And this is where AI shine.
Hmm.
And as you said, also, I don't believe in the doing, in the during of the workshop because like the magic is like the ownership that is created because people are coming up with their own ideas and explaining why they found and sharing why we should consider them and the group together is building up on that. So you lose a
Absolutely.
bit that magic
Yeah, yeah,
if
you
you
do.
include it.
There's a
Alexandre
quote.
has I don't know if you heard about the sandwich principle of Alexander Statter.
No, I don't think so.
I think he came up with a brilliant concept. It's like the first layer, like the sandwich principle, is like the first layer should always be human,
Hmm.
and then you bring a layer of AI. Like for example, like if you start
Mm.
your brainstorming, then it's only human, and then you
Yeah.
ask AI to, I don't know, brainstorm on the ideas that have been shared, and then it should be human, and you should also always end up with human. So I
Hmm.
think it's also a smart way to use it during. I just don't do it because also like the tech is distracting and stuff like that. But yeah, sometimes it could be interesting, especially if you're working on a very very complex and touchy challenge.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I also wanted to just like jump on the other point that you made as well about people needing to be part of creating the solutions that happen in a workshop or any session in general. And it's like this whole IKEA effect. I'm not sure if you've heard this before. The idea is that people need to feel like they're actually built, like in order for people to get behind something and feel really good about something, they have to feel like they've been part of creating the process. And yeah, I that's what I try to do in all my workshops. Every single time I'm working with people, I make sure that that they feel like they're part of that creation phase and they're coming up with all of the solutions and it's very equal in terms of participation. Yeah, and then you can just see the excitement at the very end of the workshop that they're all like, yeah, I actually want to implement this now. This is great.
Hey friend, just taking a quick break from this conversation. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. I'm launching something brand new. It's called the Workshop Deck. It's 52 cards that will help you design better workshops in less time. So, to celebrate the launch, I'm hosting a free live event on October 23rd and you are invited. Trust me, you will want to be there because I'm going to share with you the exact process I use to design workshops that get results and keep clients coming back. Plus, everyone who joins the live will get a special gift. I can't say what it is yet, but I usually sell it for 300 euros. I will also share with you a secret project I've been working on for a long time. And if you are a facilitator, leader, or consultant, I genuinely believe it could change the way you design workshops. But now, scan the QR code if you're watching this on a television, or click the link in the description. Hope to see you there. Enjoy the rest of the conversation. Yeah, I think like this IKEA effect is real. It's just I don't understand how people can be proud of like assembling a furniture from IKEA. Like it doesn't bring me any pleasure. But I think the wording and the packaging of the idea is smart. And
I'm
actually,
also
when I
with you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hate the process, but I love the result.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, me too. And I think maybe in everything I do, it's almost like of course, I like to start project, but like an IKEA furniture is like it takes so much energy from me.
I totally get that. Totally get that.
So I
Oh, there
wanted to
was.
say, like,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
no problem. Like when I run my first design sprint, and this is where I discovered the magic of facilitation. Like I was very like when I looked at the process, I was like, yeah, but we are already doing that as designers. I don't understand why we deliver better. And
Hmm.
then I saw the solution, and I found the solution not necessarily like smarter or stronger. But then I saw the shift when like the team was super excited, and I saw the shift in the execution. And
Mm,
then I was like, oh, it's super smart because now they are motivated to do the thing. And at the end of the day, a great workshop will only be a success if people execute the things that they said they will in a session.
yes, exactly. Totally agree with that.
All right, Rebecca, enough about AI.
Hmm.
What is
Yes.
the other insight from this report that you want to share?
Okay, so another very interesting insight was that while facilitators are still developing their skills by learning, like learning by doing, there's a huge call for more training and just general recognition of facilitation as a skill, as a career in the industry, which is really cool. Like people want to be trained, they want to develop their skills, and they don't want to just rely on this learning by doing thing. And something really cool as well that we've actually seen in the space of facilitation, and we're trying to actually communicate it to the world, I suppose, is that facilitation, if you really want to be a master facilitator and you want to really get amazing at it, like we feel the highest level of facilitation is to be an emergent facilitator. And this is what we train in our trainings at AJ and Smart. We teach people how to become more emergent. And what that means is that it's less about the tools, the tactics, the techniques, while they are very important and we still teach them. It's less about the tools, tactics, and techniques, and more about your mindset and your ability to adapt on the fly in the middle of a workshop or a session, and to be able to deal with all of the unexpected things that happen as a facilitator. So yeah, that's the direction that we're moving towards, and we teach people this in lots of different ways by like simulating different scenarios. So we push people into running an exercise or facilitating some sort of exercise, and then we throw different things at them, not physical things, like not a pen or anything, but like for example, we would simulate a little exercise with a group of people, and then we would come in and pretend to be like a latecomer at a meeting and just sit down and be like, okay, so what's happening? Or we would simulate being like a proper distracting participant where you're just like constantly questioning the facilitators uh, agenda or what they're doing or their methods, and seeing how people react to that in the moment. And it's really cool. Like, so we would do a 5 day in-person training, and like day one you see people being really shy and really scared about these like simulated scenarios, but that by day five, you see people's confidences after massively building. And our goal is to make people a bit more resilient and unshakable, as we call it, and just being able to just like, yeah, pivot when things don't go to plan. So it's cool. It's like, this is a cool thing that the training of facilitation is becoming more needed and recognized.
Yeah, I love this because before you're like, okay, those things I cannot learn in a kind of training. I will need to go on in the wild and practice and deal with my difficult participant and see that my agenda is going to go to trash and I would need to adapt. And you're
Hmm.
giving them this almost like still like a safe zone to have to face those situation
Yeah.
in a friendly environment. So I think it's really nice that you're going into that direction
Yeah, it's
because
very
of that
cool.
people never sometimes take the jump like, oh, okay, I know the exercise, I know the techniques, but still feels like a big
Mm,
stretch.
yeah. Yeah, and what we've noticed, and I suppose where this whole idea of emergent facilitation came from is that we were spotting this rigidity, I suppose, in facilitators. So we were seeing people like really holding on to their agenda and being like, this is what we need to do. And if we don't get through these 5 exercises, then it means that the workshop is a failure. And then when things don't go to plan, they panic. And they're like, oh my God, what? I was meant to do the sailboat next. And now it's just all going on fire. And so we kept seeing this. So we were like, okay, so teaching them exercises, tools, recipes matters to give them the confidence to actually go out there and do it. But what matters most is teaching them this resilience, this confidence, getting people into this right headspace so that they can just be okay with just adapting on the fly and being flexible and yeah, just dealing with whatever comes their way.
Yeah. It's very interesting because yeah, people spend time on their agenda and of course like the more time they will spend, the more time they will love their agenda. And it's always hard to throw a piece of your work.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah. You
but
get so
it's
attached.
yeah, but it's needed. It's needed and I think like teaching that like is preparing those facilitator for better. I've seen it
Absolutely.
myself like when I saw my journeys that in the beginning I was like, "Oh, those are the workshop rules, those are the guidelines." I was almost becoming a cop like, "Hey, no, no, no. Don't have this discussion. Like it should be like this." And no, it's together alone and nothing else. And then of course with building the reps, then you're becoming a bit more chill and like seeing like
Mm,
what are what are the groups of I'm dealing with
mhm,
and what would make more sense with what you're trying to achieve. And then you can let go a bit your agenda and just embrace the chaos and of course you
mm.
get better with time management so because it's also like the surprise that comes with improvisation
Yeah. Totally,
and
totally. I'm also, I have an experience of where, like, and again, of course, experience gives you this confidence to adapt and go off plan and yeah, so that's why this training is so good to just give you that safe environment to just practice it and build up those reps. However, like as a facilitator yourself, you'll feel that shift in yourself when you just can just let go of that agenda and just okay, just actually respond to the group and what they need. And where I felt the shift for me was when I was facilitating a 5 day training with a huge company. I don't think I can mention them right now because, yeah, but it was a lot of pressure for me as a facilitator to go there. And I designed the whole thing for them. And I had spoken to the client beforehand and everything, and we really, like, down to the minute, figured out what we were going to do. And then when I arrived there, I was like, oh God, this isn't what they need. Like I walked into the room and I just felt I'm gonna have to change everything. And so it, that didn't actually scare me. Like it worried me a bit, but I was able to quickly just go, oh, okay, if we go in the direction that I originally planned, it's going to go to shit. Sorry if cursing isn't allowed, but if I just take a minute and spend like 10 minutes or 15 minutes just designing it in a different way based on their needs and actually ask them questions about what they want and what they need and everything, then it's going to be a better week. And so what I did was instead of just launching into the content that I had planned, I stopped and did an exercise called Hopes and Fears with them because I also felt the energy in the room when I walked in. I felt like they didn't want to be there, were super busy. Like I just felt that what I had planned wasn't right. And so yeah, did this exercise called Hopes and Fears, figured out what like framed it like what do you hope to get from this week? What are you worried about in this week or whatever? And we did that, and I pulled out like 3 fears that they were all very aligned on. There was lots of duplicates. One of them being like, "This is going to be a waste of time. I'm way too busy. Like, why do I need to show up here?" kind of thing. And I just like sat down with them, like 60 people, sat down with them at their level, like at the top on a chair, and I was just like, "All right, let me just address these challenges." And that data that came from that exercise helped me just adapt and change the whole training for them. And it was more about like, yeah, the results were way better because it was based on what they needed versus what somebody thought they needed first. So yeah, you just build up this confidence to just take that different direction, and it's scary, but trust your own intuition with it if it's there.
Yeah, and I can imagine like 5 days on something you don't want and you don't need. Whoa, it's gonna be a long, long, long training.
Yeah, absolutely. And it did require more effort from my side because every day I had to come in and be like, okay, so how can I change it up today so that it's based, like it was a completely different training, like than what was originally planned. So there was a lot of work on my side to, yeah, change it up. But again, it's so worth it because the client was so happy in the end, and also like made a point about that change. You're just like, we were going this direction. You noticed that it didn't need to go there. And thank you so much for like listening to us and asking us what we needed so we could figure it out on the spot. So yeah, I like this vibe of like co-creating the session with the group versus having everything pre-planned and just, here we go. This is what we're doing. You have no input.
Yeah. And I love that because the exercise that you use is a great one to like understand the expectations in the room. Because I
Hmm.
guess before you discuss with the main client, the manager, and like they wanted to do this training for that reason. But then you
Yeah.
have those people that maybe didn't decide to be there. They have different expectations. They have like their misconceptions. And you read the room, understood those expectations, and then managed them so that everyone like could be happy and could learn actually from what you were
Hmm.
planned to do in that
Yeah.
session.
And it's also like a great trust building exercise for you as the facilitator, stepping into a room where you can feel, oh, the people don't want to be here. They've been told they have to because it's like a tick on the box, or whatever. Yeah, getting them on your side at the very beginning and setting and getting clear expectations right there at the start is going to completely change the vibe of your sessions or trainings with people. It totally got them on my side, and they were coming up to me afterwards. They were like, "Thank you so much. Like, I'm really looking forward to actually coming in here every morning now because yeah, you get us. You're like you get that we what we need essentially."
Yeah, yeah, but I can imagine. I'm trying. Like when you're talking, I'm imagining a training that I had in the past. I didn't want to be in this training, and the trainer just didn't care about the
Mm,
audience. He just delivered what he was paid to do. So I do believe you that it creates more trust because it's like, oh, this person really wants to help us. She's listening to us, and then she changed the content so
hmm.
that we are actually achieving the goals of many different people in the room. So
Yeah. Yeah.
brilliant.
Thank you.
What what else do you is there to share from the state of facilitation? Is there another point or
I think those were the two that really stuck out to me. Like the things that stuck were, yeah, the AI topic and this training, this call for trainings. And yeah, they were the ones that I'm like, yeah, I feel like we're already on track, like at AJ and Smart. And what we're doing is, yeah, we're trying to communicate those messages that AI isn't going to take over. You're still extremely necessary in the field of collaboration and problem solving and decision making. And yeah, training is something we're so passionate about. And I'm also like realizing that the trainings that exist out there are mainly about tools and techniques. And so I'm very excited for us to try spread this new facilitation bug of focusing more on the facilitator, like the mindset of a facilitator, and building that unshakability within facilitators to be able to just, yeah, adapt to anything that comes their way.
also what I like about it is that the lessons or the things I've learned the most are from the mistakes I've made. Like for example,
Mhm.
again for the design sprint nerds that are listening to us, like I screw up my first sprint question I
Hmm.
will never forget how important it is to get a great sprint question. So the
Hmm.
next time I was really even more aware, like I was really putting a lot of focus to understand, okay, is it the right thing that we want to validate at the end?
Hmm.
And so what you're telling me is like you're in a group, you're trying to handle like the problem that's AGN Smart is creating for us,
Hmm.
and maybe you're not going to behave the right way or handle the situation the right way. You're gonna notice that, and then you're gonna get feedback from guys who've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, I realized, and I have good feedback. And then the good thing is that since it's 5 days in this case,
Yeah.
you will have a better chance like tomorrow to do better. So yeah.
Absolutely. And also what's really cool about these trainings is that in these simulated scenarios, you're not only getting to practice as a facilitator yourself and be challenged by us and get feedback, but you're also going to get to watch other facilitators do it too. And so you could watch somebody like deal with the scenario completely different to how you would have. And you can get inspired by that. You could be like, oh my God, yeah, I should have done
Uh,
it this way, or wow, I really like how you just did that because yeah, I would have never thought of it. So it's like this like weird like incubator of inspiration that you're just like learning while also being massively inspired by the other facilitators in the room. And it is such a safe space for you to practice, make mistakes, learn from it, and just try again. And you've so many opportunities as well to practice because we keep throwing you into different scenarios throughout the week. It's really cool to see. And also the feedback is that people are like, wow, I wouldn't have had this environment for me to just like try these things and test these things. And even for people who are experienced, they were just learning so much about, okay, I've realized I'm actually after adopting lots of bad habits and this has broken me out of them.
I'm smiling because like when I was learning facilitation, I always said to people around me, like I would pay like a lot of money, at least for me, to see like how a pro facilitate
Hmm.
and to get experience and having feedback on my experience.
Hmm.
And this is where like when I was building my own course, like this is why I'm like there is a moment where I'm facilitating a workshop and people are the participant, and then I have a moment where they actually practice. I give them feedback. So
Hmm.
this is why I really relate on the fact like this is gold. And especially today, like tools and techniques are becoming a bit commodity. There are so many different trainings out there to learn those, and it's not
Hmm.
that will make you a great facilitator.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
please do another full stack because I had a big FOMO last for
Yeah, I
last
know.
time.
Yeah, we have no idea when the next one will be, but if anybody wants to learn more about it, facilitator.com is where we talk about our training there, and you can hear what we do and see all the pictures of people, yeah, being put into crazy scenarios. But also, I will say it's safe, crazy scenarios. You're in a safe space.
That's the better place to make
Yeah,
mistakes. Okay,
yeah.
cool. Rebecca, since you've been teaching facilitation to all those people, I
Hmm.
just want to ask you, like, maybe we can make a kind of a survival workshop guide for like maybe beginners or people that want to improve. Like, what are the top skills that a great facilitator should have according to you?
Okay, so according to me, the top skill is resilience. So I feel like and we spoke about it with this emergent facilitation thing, being able to be okay with things not going to plan, and it not completely destroying your confidence, and throwing off your entire session or work or whatever. So resilience is huge for facilitators. You're going to make mistakes. That's absolutely fine. You're working with humans. Just be open and honest with them about like, oh, this isn't the direction I was going to take us in, but let's just reassess and reevaluate and
Mm-hmm.
let's come back to it in 5 minutes or something. Just like openly just calling out that the direction that you're about to take isn't what was planned, but it's okay. And still being able to hold the group in a space where they feel like you've got this. Resilience would be one. The second thing that I really believe facilitators should be able to have as a skill, and it's hard, this one is really difficult, is authenticity. So their ability to
Mm.
just really lean into who they are as a person, and try to be able to make that shine in their facilitation. Because, yeah, that is what will set you apart from everybody else. And that is what is going to create a very psychologically safe space for other people in the room to be able to open up and be themselves. So, like, yeah, there's nothing scarier than somebody who, like a facilitator who really is like so under massive pressure for this workshop to work. They've everything planned down to a T. They have this agenda that's super strict, and they come into the space stressed. You can feel it. You can feel that they're almost like putting on a mask, and they can't even let that mask go down because if they do, they'll crumble. So instead, what I'm trying to encourage people to do is just try to be more yourself. Try to just come into the space with like, I don't know, like a vulnerability and openness to just connect with the human first before you dive into any sort of content or problem solving sessions. And just like how I do that as a facilitator myself is, and how I be more authentic and authentically me is I spend a lot of time on the arrival of people coming into my space, whether that's online or in person. When they come into a space in person with me, I will make sure that the very first thing that we do is just connect on a human level. So I would get people to like create their name tags in a nice way, like draw them, add sticky gems, like glam them up. And I like to ask people this question of what are you interested in right now? And they write their answer on their name tag, and that's like a
Ah.
an opportunity to connect with others. So they like go over to somebody and meet them, and they have this like answer on their name tag, and that just immediately pulls people out of this like serious work mode and into a more, oh, we're all just human trying to figure out what this life is. Let's connect and start from there, and then we can actually solve problems afterwards. And when you do that, when you kind of invite people into that space of being more yourself and connecting human first, then yeah, the whole energy of your session changes. The other skills, active listening, good questioning skills, the ability to give clear instructions, these are all like things that you should be able to do as a facilitator and you should be able to master them. But now I am way more about just who you are as a facilitator and how you show up to the space so that other people can feel comfortable and safe around you.
I want to say I love that. Did you see this like this reel going like viral? Like, you don't need to love your job, you need to job your love.
No,
It
I
was
need
a
to see it
podcast
though.
that went like a snapshot that has been like become viral. So I want to say I love
Yeah.
that, but I could just see that image because the host said, "I love that." After that sentence, that is nonsense. But I think like today we are living in a world like everything looks the same. Like every
Mm,
app's the same experience, the same look and feel. Everyone is doing the same type of thing. And I really believe that this is the moment to really be authentic. When I
hmm
when I go in a workshop with Rebecca, I want to live a different experience than someone else.
hmm
And what makes Rebecca special with it's what's going to attract me to keep working with Rebecca if it of course resonates with the type of things we need. And you told me like before we record that you've been working on like kind of introspection and training your own facilitation voice.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, tell us how you did that and what is it actually?
Yeah, I think so. Like when I started as a facilitator, I was definitely very like focused on the tools, the techniques, the exercises, and learning them all off by heart so I could just do them all. It's still good to be able to have a toolkit of stuff to pull from while you're in sessions, and that just becomes like this invisible part of your facilitation. Um, so that was important for me to start building the confidence. But yeah, now I'm learning that actually, what do I want from a session? When I work with people, what do I want from it as a result? And what will success mean to me? And that is when people come up to me and say, I had so much fun. Like I feel so good after this session. Like even if there's not that many tangible results, like it doesn't matter if they feel like they've had fun, if they felt like they could let go, if they felt safe enough to just be silly and weird in themselves, then it's a success for me. And realized that how I can create that space for people is creating this, and I wrote about it on LinkedIn this week actually. It's creating this creative sanctuary for people so that when people come into a session or a training with me, then they feel the change. It's different from their normal day-to-day work. And why it's different is because there's a few different elements that I'm playing with. For example, I'm making the space very creative and playful and forcing people, gently inviting people, actually, I won't say forcing, into a more creative, playful mindset. And I want them to get into that mindset because once I get them there, then I get the real them. I get the best ideas out of them. And yeah, we're going to have an amazing session once I push them into that mindset because yeah, they're going to be more open and relaxed and chill. The best ideas come from people when they're relaxed and in this playful mode. And we're never in it in work, really, are we? We're always in this serious work mode, which for creativity dies in that work mode. You can't
Mm.
come up with some really good ideas when you're like, but I need to do this thing or go to this next meeting. So yeah, my goal as a facilitator is to push people out of the serious work mode into the creative, playful mode so that we can actually, yeah, really have fun. And one last thing I'll say on that is that my sessions are focused on, I want to focus on how people feel. That is the most important thing for me. Like making people feel really good is what matters to me most in my sessions. Results, outcomes, they matter too, but not as much as how people feel after a session.
You know what they say, huh? People don't remember what you say; they remember how you made them feel.
Hmm.
So I really like that. And actually, if you look at your LinkedIn post, like I can see like the wall that you made with pictures of people getting into the office, or like
Yeah.
when you're using facilitated tape with like those small check-in. Like it really
Hmm.
feel like it's the vibe you're trying to create, and I do believe that is super important. Like again, everything looks the same. Every meeting is the same.
Hmm.
So even if it's the same meeting room, like you can still make it like something different so that the moment they come into that space, they say, okay, no, it's going to be a different experience and it seems like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And like, I think Emily Ing say that like serious work don't need to be actually serious.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah. Like you can solve problems in the same way with Lego than you can with just talking and doing an exercise or whatever. So yeah, I love to play around with the space and with what I'm doing. And I do it through using Lego, using Play-Doh, uh, bringing different types of games into my sessions. Also like dropping elements of nostalgia into my sessions. So like for
oh,
me, Play-Doh it brings me back to my childhood in a very good way. So I remember being in primary school, like playing with Play-Doh, building things, being creative, and just having such a good time. And also the smell. Like, so anything that can push people into this like different mindset. So like smelly markers, I don't know, do you remember them? They like
no.
smell like different types of fruits. And so I used to have them in school. And so I make them now part of my materials, like my
Oh,
toolkit, so that on the table people can just like use these markers and be like, oh my God. And maybe it will bring them back to a really, really good time. Yeah, so games, different focusing on how people arrive, making sure that I have interactive elements around my spaces, like different passive boards, like aha moment boards, or different ways for them to interact outside of just the session. Like I want people to be able to get up and use the space in whatever way they feel like it.
it's really nice. I can see that you didn't change actually your toolkit from being a teacher with kids. Like you just like, ah, I'm going to reuse that in my workshop. I
Yeah,
have the Play-Doh. And I hate
absolutely.
Play-Dohs today because I'm a dad and I need to clean this mess every time. But
On your
I,
shoes and everything. Yeah, totally get that. But yeah, I think it
um,
is really important to, yeah, even the most serious groups, the most serious people in the world, or leaders, anyone, I feel like people need to be pushed out of that serious work mode in order to get them to unlock or access the best ideas that are in their head. And they can only access it in a more chill, playful mode. And that's what I'm trying to do as a facilitator, invite people into that mode.
And what I also like when you what you said is that of course there is the workshop goal and it's a way to assess the quality of the session, but you also have your own goals. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, my goal is that people say that it was very creative, that it was fun, that I had a good moment. And I think it's also sometimes important for you yourself because, of course, we are working for our client at the end of the day.
Hmm.
But if you want to keep doing that, you also need to work for you and discover what makes you happy in your work. So I
Completely.
relate to that. Like actually, when my goal is also like I have two goals. My goal is like, of course, deliver, and then it's like I want them to laugh in my session and like, oh,
Yeah.
when I work with many, we get things done, but we have fun doing it, and it's
Hmm.
always funny. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. I'm
100%. I'm always trying to make people laugh in my sessions or just like set up activities or things that is going to elicit that type of laughter and fun and play. And even, yeah, if they're, I think this was a point we were talking about earlier of just like, even if some of the games or exercises that I use aren't related to the goal of the session or the problem that's trying to be solved, it doesn't matter. It's still going to push people into a different mode, which is going to make them better problem solvers at the end.
yeah, you go back. It's like the creative flow that you're creating. So you're
Hmm.
like if you create those new experiences, it's going to trigger other part in the brain of participant, and then there are more chances that you will avoid the classical IDs linked to the challenge. So it really makes sense with where what you discover that you love the most and what you're trying
Yeah.
to do to get there. So I think it's
Hmm.
insightful. We should have made an episode about that actually. Finding your
Sure.
authentic voice as a facilitator. Maybe Rebecca, one question before I let you go is like,
Yeah.
what would be the advice that you would give to facilitators if they also want to be more authentic and discover their own facilitation style?
Hmm. Okay. So my biggest word of advice is um, after workshopping or after you run a session, whether it's a meeting, training, workshop, whatever, take some time to reflect on your facilitation. And it could be very simple. And this is how I figured out my own style. And like it's a journey, definitely. But I just answer these three questions after every session that I have. What went well? What didn't go so well? And what would I do differently next time? And by answering those three questions, you start to figure out, okay, what do I really like doing? Like, what am I really, really good at? Um, and what am I like, where are my weaknesses? And like, so you come out of a session being able to really like have an idea, okay, I want to do more of this stuff because that works, that lands, and I feel good when I do these things. The things that went wrong or didn't feel that good, I want to develop the skills or I want to learn more about how I can make that better. And then you just bring everything into the next session. And when you repeat that process, you'll start to develop your own style as a facilitator. You figure that out. So yeah, reflecting on yourself as a facilitator is probably the biggest fast track to, yeah, understanding or being more authentic. I also have
That's
like
right.
an exercise that I do as well with people, with facilitators that I work with, of trying to unlock that authenticity. And one of them is literally like think of it's simple, it's like a 2 minute thing. Think of the last time in the last 2 weeks where you felt genuinely authentically yourself, where you felt like you were in this flow state, where you felt like, oh, this is fully me, I'm after accessing it. Think of where that was, who you were with, what were the situations, or like what were the things. And then flip that. Think of another situation in the last 2 weeks where you didn't feel like yourself. Like, what were the elements of this? Who were you with? What were you doing? And figuring out that, like that thing where you feel and access yourself the most, um, makes you realize, okay, maybe it's like when I'm doing like playful activities, this is how I figured it out. I'm like, oh my God, I lose myself and go into the flow state when I'm facilitating like a Lego serious play activity with people. I should do this more. And so when you do that exercise, it really like pinpoints what you should be doing a bit more of.
Awesome. And when you were talking about those three questions, I was like exactly like what you're coming up with now. Is like maybe you can even add this question like what did I like the most or
Hmm.
what did I had the most fun in that into this session so
Hmm.
that you can do the math on everything, like getting better, working on my weaknesses, what I need to be careful about
Yeah.
in the future, and
Mhm.
then like, oh, and this is where I got my energy. Is it from the warm up? Is it from the creative part? So very inspiring to see your journey and to share it with us. Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Rebecca.
Welcome.
Where can people find you?
Well, if people want to check out my LinkedIn, you can go there, just type in Rebecca Courtney, and you'll see I'll be posting probably 3 times a week, I hope, if I can stay consistent with it. I share just lots of different tips and tricks around facilitation, mindset of a facilitator, just facilitation in general. And then if you'd like to learn more about AJN Smart or trainings or courses, you can go to facilitator.com. Yeah, they would be the two spaces that you can keep up to date with us. We also have a YouTube channel, which we have loads of free content around training facilitators and workshop designers. So you can check out AJ and Smart's YouTube channel as well.
It's amazing, and they also have a great community, the Facilitator Club.
Yes, that's our
So make
free community.
so a lot of free stuff, guys. If you didn't
Yeah, I
get
don't want
it,
to overwhelm people.
they are really the ones to that you want to consider
Yes,
if you want to go into
definitely.
that area. Like I bought like all the product except like full stack, but maybe I will if they change their mind. But yeah, I've learned so much thanks to those guys. So keep doing what you do, Rebecca. It's so nice to see your post. And together with all the listeners, we will be your LinkedIn accountability buddies to make sure
Phew.
that you hit those three those three weekly posts.
Thank you so much. Yeah, please do. Please do. The engagement and the support is, yeah, always really, really great and encouraging. And also thank you, Mehdi. The flow of this has been really, really great. I'm learning
A
loads about
pleasure.
myself through your questions.
But I guess that's what we do as facilitator, and it was easy to do it with you because it was just I was just following the flow that you were trusting me to
Yeah,
follow.
thank
All
you.
right, Rebecca, it was a pleasure having you. Guys, we see each other in the next episodes. I hope you will enjoy this one as much as I did. Bye bye.
Bye.